Time for another episode of Backyard Kimchi, late season edition. Let's see what we got to work with. Now, most things in the garden have been harvested, but we got a few options. Number one thing I'm looking at is this red vein sorrel. It's got a nice lemony leaf taste. I was thinking about some green tomato kimchi, but I'm going to save that for another time. However, I have been thinking for a while that Nasturtium kimchi, both with the leaves and with the seeds, might be a really yummy experiment to run. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Nasturtiums are so great. The leaves, stems, buds, and flowers are all edible, and they're all delicious. We're going high cone. Don't eat the seeds. You collecting seeds, collecting the greens. Forgot that I've got a little bit of rhubarb left. I think I'll add that too. All right, here is the kimchi haul for early October. We've got nasturtium leaves, nasturtium seeds, and some flower buds. 3 little stalks of rhubarb and a whole bunch of red-veined sorrel leaves. I'm going to add in some stuff that I harvested from my garden a couple days ago that I'll show you in a minute. But for now, I'm going to take the stuff inside and get it soaking and washed. In addition to all of this, I also have this teeny tiny head of cauliflower. I'm not sure you can even call it a head, but there is a cauliflower in there. But more importantly, cauliflower greens and these onions, all from the backyard. So I'm going to chop up the onions and the rhubarb and cut up the cauliflower, and then soak and then salt the greens. So I'm going to get that started. Alright, let everybody soak in here for a good 15-20 minutes or so. These guys too. And that'll give me time to chop up everybody else. No need to obsess about the size unless you really want to. I'm just cutting what I think would make, putting the pieces into what I think would make a comfortable bite of kimchi. Since I don't have a whole lot of this rhubarb, I want pieces small enough that they will scatter nicely through all of it. The cauliflower stem is edible, but when it gets really thick, it's kind of woody. So I'm going to chop off about here and then dice the rest of that. I especially want nice, cute little florets in the kimchi. So I'll break these guys up. Yeah, see, that's what I want. I don't want a bunch of woodiness like this. Dry edge around the dry part around the edge is a hint that that's probably pretty woody and would not be pleasant eating. And if you're not sure if it's good, try a bite. Yep. Crunchy cauliflower. Nice. The fermentation will also soften this a bit. Now the fun part, the onion. make life easier for yourself, collect all your kitchen scraps in a little bowl or something. And then you can easily put them in recycling or compost or garbage later on. I didn't know better. I'd think that this was a garlic. I smelled it. It's definitely an onion. Don't know what it's up with that loose skin, so I'll just toss it and dice the rest of everything here. Fermentation forgives a great deal. By the way, fun tip to keep your green onions from rolling away, cut them in half. And into the bowl they go. So this is basically all of the solid stuff that I'm not going to salt. And all of this greenery here, once it's done soaking, which will be very soon, I am going to salt. These leaves have been soaking in a vinegar solution for about 15 minutes. I'm gonna thoroughly rinse them off. What I'm doing here is just trying to get the dirt and any bugs off. Since I don't use pesticides or insecticides in my yard, I don't need to worry about that, about chemicals, but bugs and dirt, well, that's what happens when you grow stuff outside. Not a big deal. This looks like it's going to be a lot of kimchi, right? A lot of volume. Now, keep in mind how big this was, because once we add salt, preferably non-iodized salt, it's going to get a lot smaller. The salt will draw out the water and probably also kill off any other bacteria and other stuff that might have survived the vinegar solution and washing process. Be generous with the salt. You're going to rinse it off anyway. Anyway, so now we're going to wait about half an hour and then come back. I'm going to put this stuff away in the fridge until then. Alright, it says been salting for a while. You can see it is much reduced. It's gonna draining the water out. I guess it should. Now, turn homegrown garlic, fish sauce, gochugaru, also known as Korean red chili flake, some ginger, turmeric, garlic, and other yummy stuff. Paste into, and as usual, I am not really going to use measurements. I'm just gonna play it by ear and go by feeling. That is the nice thing about kimchi, is that this recipe is so very, very forgiving. You really can't go too wrong with it. Big chunk of the ginger garlic paste, nice healthy splash of the fish sauce. Match a crap ton of Korean red chili flakes and however many garlic cloves I feel like crushing before I get bored. By the way, since these cloves, these homegrown garlic cloves, are teeny tiny, I'm going with the crushed garlic method because then I don't have to remove the skin from every single darn one of them. Okay, so about this much garlic is what that ended up being. By the way, and then I'm gonna, it's a good stir, maybe with a little bit of water to help it flow. Also, because I like to have a little bit of extra liquid in my kimchi. All right. So once we've got that, I'm going to dump it on here and start commencing to turn this stuff into kimchi. Oh, my darling husband is going to is over here and tells me that it smells fantastic. By the way, nothing compares to the potency of homegrown garlic. Highly recommend if you have the opportunity to do it. Thank you, honey. You're the sweet husband. Aww. All right, getting it a little bit mixed here. You can see the florets and everything. Not worried too much because there will be much more mixing going once I add the greenery. All right, here are the leaves. Gonna give these guys a squeeze and a rinse, and then on to the next step. Want to get as much salt off of these guys as possible. And by the way, be okay with the fact you're not going to get all the salt off. That's fine. Just means your kimchi is going to be a little salty, which is good. But the more you rinse it, the less extra added salt you will have. You definitely do want to drain and squeeze as much of the water out as you can. Now, if you want to, you can pre-cut your kimchi, your greens before you salt them. I obviously did not, so I'm going to cut them now. This is very much a to-taste sort of thing. If you like big pieces of kimchi in your kimchi, then make them big. If you like small, go for small. I like a variety. I really like leaves in my kimchi, so we'll see how this goes. As I said before, and I'll say it again, this is such a forgiving recipe. If you finish up and decide that that you cut your kimchi pieces too big, you can cut them up. You can put it in a blender, whatever. Whatever you like. It is totally your kimchi, your project. You are the one in control. And if anybody tries to judge you for making kimchi wrong, well, then you don't have to give them any of your kimchi. So, Auntie Mangshi recommends using your hand to make sure all of the ingredients mix together everything gets coated. And if you do that, be sure to use a glove because gochugaru will stain your hand red. It'll be delicious, but perhaps not ideal. Often I will just use a utensil, but since I chose a bowl that was too small and don't feel like getting another bowl dirty, I'm less likely to spill this all over the place if I use my hands. So, oh there, even though, there we go. As expected. A little bit of spillage happens. All right, got things pretty well mixed here. So now I'm gonna get my fermentation container. This is not something you actually absolutely need to have, but they're pretty cheap if you get them off of Amazon, and they make the entire process much easier. So I'm gonna take this, dump it into my container here. Make sure you get as much of the kimchi paste out as you can, as this is it's gonna make the magic happen. I'm gonna give this a little bit more mixing now that I've got more room. As you, like I said, you want kimchi paste touching everything in your kimchi, and you also want to have everything mixed up, evenly distributed. So I have no idea how this is going to turn out. I'm hoping it's going to be kind of lemony and peppery and nice. But I've never made Nasturtium sorrel kimchi, so we will discover what it's like together. Now, technically I could eat this right now, but I like to have my kimchi a bit more on the fermented side, so I'll be back to try this tomorrow. And in the meantime, the reason for this device is so handy is you can use it to push the air bubbles out. And then if you look down here, down on the side, and your kimchi looks a little bit on the dry side, you can add a little bit of water or vegetable stock to make sure that it has an appropriate amount of moisture. All right, that ought to do it. Make sure everything is pushed down there. You've got as much air out as possible. Put on my lid. Yeah, look at it from the side. That's what we're looking for. And it's not swimming, but I like to have enough moisture that I'll be able to see when fermentation bubbles form. And I will come back to this guy tomorrow. All right, it's actually been more than one day, but check this out. See those bubbles? They mean that the fermentation is going strong here. You can see some of the liquid has come out of the kimchi, and the smell is amazing. Now I'm going to taste it. All right, and here is my nasturtium, cauliflower, rhubarb, and nasturtium, cauliflower, rhubarb, and sorrel kimchi. Let's give it a try. Kind of crunchy, kind of sour. Yeah. I've really been dying to try the seed pods. The peppery flavor has really kind of dulled down from when they're fresh. So let's see what else I got here. Oh, and this is so interesting. This is the red vein sorrel. It's gone almost purple. it held on to a lot of the lemony flavor, but now it's more sour. Some cauliflower leaf. Oh yeah, I could eat this all day. Nice and crunchy. Probably gonna let this ferment for a bit longer. Make sure that all of the greenery gets flavors to know each other. I might add a little bit more of the red pepper flake because it's got a good spiciness to it, but I think I want a bit more. I didn't add as much garlic as I usually do, and I can definitely taste that. So, anyway, food for thought, and like always, kimchi is a learning experience. So, this has been another episode of Make, Mend, Grow with Diana, making backyard kimchi. If you enjoy this content, like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. It really helps out the channel. I'll see you next time, and hey, drop a note in your comments about your favorite kimchi experiments.